Hey there! In today's session, you're going to discover the art of naming so you can craft your blockbuster product name. There's a detailed How to Name Anything guide that includes all 21 of my famous naming templates, which we've given you in the worksheets for this session. Let me ask you, what's the first thing that you do when you have a baby after you hold it for the first time and take a good look at what you just created? You name it, right? You don't call it hey you or baby, you give it a name. And that name becomes one of the core parts of its identity. It's how they refer to themselves and how others refer to them. One of the first questions people ask when they meet someone new is, "What's your name?" And the same goes for your experience product. The names you give your products and services are part of the critical first impression you make in the hearts and minds of your audience. Names form a key part of both how you perceive yourself and how the market perceives you and refers to you in conversation. If you've got a funny name, you get to be the kid who is teased on the playground. And if you've got a cool name, you get to be the resident hunk or hottie.
You stand in the presence of Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, rightful heir to the Iron Throne, rightful queen of the Andals and the First Men, protector of the Seven Kingdoms, the mother of dragons, the Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, the Unburnt, the breaker of chains.
This is Jon Snow. He's king in the north.
As your tribe gets to know you better, your name begins to go beyond the first impression and carry with it a whole set of associations, feelings, and memories. Your name starts to carry the charge of all the experiences your tribe has had with you, positive or negative, so you want to choose your words carefully. I've scoured the market over the last 6 years and identified 21 blockbuster templates for naming just about anything. Your business or company, your books, products, and services, your bird's eye view, signature system, big idea, framework, or technique, your podcast, blog, or web TV show, and even your tagline, headlines, and subtitles. Inside the How to Name Anything guide that we gifted you as a bonus with the masterclass, you'll find templates for anyone and everything, though many of these applications fall outside the scope of this training and the masterclass. In this video, we're focused exclusively on helping you craft a blockbuster product name. Not all of the 21 naming templates relate to products and services, so I'm only covering the relevant templates here. You can reference all the other templates in the How to Name Anything guide. Before we begin, I want to give you a sense of how the How to Name Anything guide works. You can see here a list of all 21 naming templates and all the possible applications of these templates, from naming your products to naming your signature systems, and you can see on this grid which templates are appropriate for which application. So if you're looking to name a product, just scan down this product column and see which templates are appropriate for naming products. Then you can skip straight to those templates. We've also included some handy icons as a quick reference, so you can see at a glance what each template is appropriate for. Or if you're looking for templates that capture a specific tone, spirit, or mood, you can use this next grid to find a template that suits you and your brand. We've also created quick reference icons you can look for as you flip through these pages to capture the 5 main flavors of names my students, clients, and customers usually fall into: artsy and creative, modern and innovative, safe and traditional, conscious and spiritual, and passionate and humanistic. Remember, I'm not going to be covering all these templates in this video, just the ones that are most relevant to naming your products and your bird's eye view framework, which we'll be covering in Module 3. Keep in mind that you only need one naming template to create a truly great name, so don't worry too much about trying to grok all these templates. Simply focus on the one that resonates the most with you and your product. Let's begin with template 1, the personal brand. One of the most common and timeless ways to name anything from a business to a child is to name it after yourself. The primary advantage of branding your products, services, and systems as you is that it squarely positions you as the leader, the expert, and the brand. After all, people choose to do business with people. Like it or not, we live in a celebrity-driven, personality-based culture. It's often easier to identify with a brand that has a specific name and face associated with it. Personal brands are most commonly used to name companies where the person is the business and you can read more about naming your business in the guide. On occasion, you'll also see the name of a person used as a book title, especially for memoirs or biographies of famous people. In that case, it's common to use the full name, just the first name, or just the last name, like Frida or Picasso. They can also be used in conjunction with templates 18 to 19 to name products and systems. So here's an example of the personal brand plus the institutional brand, the show presenter. Or if you want to name a bird's eye view framework, signature system, or technique, you can use the personal brand plus the solution brand, like the Feldenkrais method. Next, let's talk about template 4, the guru brand. If you're asking yourself, wait, what about templates 2 and 3? Remember that I'm only teaching the parts of this session that relate specifically to naming your experience product or bird's eye view framework. I cover the other templates plus more detailed explanations and examples in the guide that we've included with the worksheets for this session. The guru brand used to be more common in the early days of the web, when there wasn't a lot of competition or market sophistication. Now these days, consumers are a little more savvy, so it's not as common. Basically, the guru brand incorporates words that depict power, fame, wealth, or excellence, such as big, best, greatest, money, world, domination, or mastery. Now, you may think I'm joking, but many entrepreneurs have named products, programs, or services using this template. Let me give you a few examples. World's Greatest Speaker Training by Brennan Burchard, Roger Love, and Bo Eason. Big Money Speaker Bootcamp by James Malinchak. World Domination Summit from Chris Gilbo. Online Business Mastery from Mario Brown. And the Ultimate Business Mastery System by Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes. Those two are going for gold here with two words from our list, mastery and ultimate. As you can see, this template tends to be more popular among men than women for obvious choices. Naturally, some of you are going to love this one and some of you are going to hate it. If you're motivated by power, fame, or money, you'll love this model. But if you're someone who's allergic to hype and who values authenticity and collaboration, this template may turn you off. Though even as it turns you off, you may find yourself strangely and illogically drawn in. The reason why, according to the great psychologist Abraham Maslow, is that this model taps into one of our 4 deficiency needs that are basic to human well-being, and that's the need for self-esteem, confidence, achievement, and respect. This model appeals to people whose values include money, fame, power, and excellence, which are more traditionally male values. Here's the question to ask yourself in this model. What am I the best in the world at? Or what could I be the best in the world at? Here are a few fill-in-the-blank templates that you can use to find your guru brand. The only blank you'll ever need, the world's greatest blank, the top blank in the world, the best blank out there, the ultimate blank, blank mastery. Like it or not, this model works, especially if you're a man or your clients are predominantly male. Our next template is one of the most powerful for naming products, services, books, and frameworks, as well as crafting your tagline, subtitles, and headlines. This is template 5, the Big Promise brand. And in this template, you answer the question, what specific outcome and or experience can I promise my clients that they want, but they just can't get anywhere else? Just like your product mission, the very best promises include both an aspirational outcome and a specific process or time frame for achieving that outcome. This combination makes your product more credible while helping your audience believe that they can achieve the outcome. Here are some formulas that you can use to create a big promise name. X outcome in Y time, like bestseller in a weekend. Or the opposite, X time to achieve Y outcome, the 7-day back pain cure. Then we've got X steps for Y outcome, or variations such as X process for Y outcome, or X system for Y outcome. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or Warren Buffett's 5-step process for prioritizing true success. You can also create a hooky name or a tagline simply by referencing the outcome in an active way. Here are 2 formulas for doing that. Noun to noun. For example, message to money, conversations to cash, fear to freedom. Or action verb plus outcome, like wake up productive or creating fame. These 2 formulas are simple and clear, but often need a subtitle or headline to get more specific and let people know exactly what you're promising. So if you want to get more specific, say for the subtitle of a book or program or the name of a webinar, here are a couple more templates for you. How to plus action verb plus outcome. For example, how to captivate audiences and become unforgettable. How to plus action verb plus outcome plus process. How to make millions with webinars. Or if you prefer to position yourself against what everyone else is doing, you can show your outcome and share how you're not going to achieve that outcome the hard way or the way that most people do it. The formula for this one is how to plus action verb plus outcome plus what you're not going to do. For example, how thousands of people got relief without doctors, drugs, or surgery, or how to lose up to 5 pounds a week without fad diets or exercise. Finally, you can create a promise that positions the outcome people want against their current situation. How to plus action verb plus current situation plus to desired situation. For example, how to go from best kept secret to number one in your field. Or this one, in 90 days you'll wake up twice as productive as you are now. The order of that one's changed around a bit, but it still uses all the same elements. Or other variations, like my student Janine Gregor's service, VA for Life. That's a big promise brand as well. It just doesn't use one of the specific sentence configurations or templates that I shared with you. There are literally dozens of ways to phrase a big promise, and these formulas are just a starting point to help you craft something fast, but you can also use your own unique phrasing like Janine did. Moving on to the jaw-dropping discovery brand, which is often used in the nonprofit or social justice worlds, and for books or frameworks based on a single big idea. One of the best ways to make a big idea specific and tangible is by grounding it with facts, numbers, statistics, research, or principles. Often, a jaw-dropping discovery brand allows you to reframe how people think about something. This brand provides a new way of looking at things. Now, let me give you 2 examples starting in the nonprofit and social justice world. Then I'll move on to more business-related examples. The first example is the Girl Effect. Now, this innovative movement sponsored by the Nike Foundation rose based on one single big idea conveyed through a simple yet compelling animated video. When you invest in the education and healthcare of the 250 million girls currently living in poverty, it changes communities more than any other investment. That's the Girl Effect in a nutshell. Now, I'm going to take 3 minutes to show you this video so you can see how powerful facts, numbers, statistics, research, and principles can be to illustrate one big idea and make it far more compelling and accessible than stories alone. The next example is the famous Occupy movement that used the phrase, "we are the 99%, to position themselves against the concentrations of wealth and income in the top 1% of the population, and shed light on the actions taken by the top banks and politicians to solidify this income disparity. This one statistic-based slogan came to symbolize a movement that spread to over 600 communities around the United States and beyond. Now in the world of business, you have the Pareto principle that says that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. The problem is knowing which 20% of your efforts to focus on. You also have the latte factor, David Bach's creative way to demonstrate compound interest by focusing on the amount someone spends each day for a fancy cup of coffee. And Gay Hendricks' upper limit problem, which provides a powerful context and framework for understanding limiting beliefs. With this template, you can use words such as blank principle, rule, effect, factor, problem, element, way, phenomenon, revolution. These words convey a powerful distinction that's grounded in research or science. I used the word phenomenon when I first introduced the experience product concept and positioned it against the information product industry that most people were familiar with. The very first ebook we created was called The Experience Product Phenomenon: How to 10x Sales, Skyrocket Client Results, and Have More Fun in Your Business. Now, the next category of brand names is similar to the inventor brand, which you can read about in How to Name Anything, in that it's based on creating new words that don't currently exist. However, instead of creating a completely new word, like the inventor brand, it simply shifts a letter or two in an existing word. These intentional misspellings allow you to borrow all the shared cultural meaning of an existing word while getting a unique branded URL and showing up more easily in Google searches. Like the inventor brand, this approach is most often used in the technology industry, which is based on creativity and innovation. Let me give you a couple examples. Murray had 2 software products that use the I can't spell brand template. When Heroic first came out, we spelled it with a K, not a C. We could easily show up on the first page of Google for Heroic with a K, but on today's internet, there's no way that we could get a search engine ranking for common words such as Heroic with a C. Now, unfortunately, there was a trademark issue using Heroic with a K, so we had to revert to using Heroic with a C, which is still a great brand, just more challenging from a search engine perspective. The same goes for a Facebook ad gallery software that Murray used to have called Addicted.io. That's addicted with 1 D. Since it's an ad gallery, we combined the word ad with the word addicted to come up with addicted, and we used to come up as the #1 search result for the word addicted. Though you do have to tell Google that you meant to search for addicted, since it will automatically try to show you results for the proper spelling of the word with 2 Ds. We ultimately let the software go because of new Facebook regulations, but it was a good brand while it lasted. There are hundreds of examples of major and startup brands that have taken this approach for naming their products and businesses in a world where good URLs are worth their weight in gold. The most famous example is Google. A Google, spelled with an OL at the end instead of an LE, is the mathematical term for the number 1 followed by 100 zeros, which makes perfect sense for a search engine. Other famous examples include Waze.com, a phonetic misspelling of the word Waze. Dig.com has 2 G's instead of 1. Flickr.com loses the E, and Fiverr.com adds an extra R. Next, we've got the Tell It Like It Is brand. This is a product name that simply says exactly what it is and instantly answers step 2 of your 5-step product sales sequence. What is it? Like my client, Lori Dupar. Lori came to me with a cultural reference brand, Change of Focus, but her audience of people with ADHD didn't instantly understand what that meant and why they should care. Now, she didn't want to leave her tribe guessing because while most businesses had 3 to 7 seconds to grab attention, she was lucky to have 1 second with her tribe. So we rebranded her Coaching for ADHD, which conveys exactly what she does using common tell-it-like-it-is words. Now, Lori comes up as the #1 organic listing on Google for the search term Coaching for ADHD, which is a huge benefit, and there's no room for doubt about what she actually helps people with. Tell It Like It Is brands used to be more common when Google prioritized something called exact match domains, or EMDs, in their search algorithms. So a few years ago, if you had your keyword or phrase in your domain name, then you are virtually guaranteed the #1 organic search listing for that word or phrase. Now Google's algorithms have gotten more sophisticated, and they consider over 200 different ranking factors. So while exact match domains don't guarantee you the #1 spot anymore, they still signal relevancy and will get your website ranked more highly for that word or phrase than if you didn't have it in the URL. So as of 2016, having relevant words in your domain or subdomain names actually still account for 6 out of the top 10 ranking factors on Google. Be careful not to add dashes in your URL, like relationship-info.com, because they actually hurt your Google rankings. Plus, there's one more thing you should consider in choosing a domain. It's best to choose a .com domain or a .co if your customers are located outside of the US. Now, I know that makes it significantly harder to find a good domain because so many are taken, but it's worth it because it's rare to find a non.com domain listed on the first or second page of Google listings. That said, it's important to remember that building a brand is a long-term endeavor. While EMDs may help you rank on Google today, it may not be the case in the future. You want to choose the brand names that best serves your business, a brand name that's memorable and creates the emotions that you desire in your audience. While Tell It Like It Is brands are more likely to show up higher in search engine results and clearly convey what you do, they don't convey the rich meaning and emotion behind your brand. Like anything in life and business, there are pros and cons to every approach. Now, other examples include digitalmarketer.com and datehookup.com. Moving on to what I call the Tower of Babel brand. The Tower of Babel is a mythological story that's been used to explain how the 6,500 languages in the world emerged, dividing humans into different linguistic groups where they couldn't understand each other. The Tower of Babel brand approach is another one of the many branding approaches that emerged with the need to get unique .com domain names in a world of over 1.8 billion websites, where URLs are worth their weight in gold. However, it's important to remember that building a brand is a long-term endeavor. We've just simply run out of URLs based on real words in the English language, so branders are inventing words, intentionally misspelling words, and searching outside the English language for meaningful words to brand. Whether they search the Sanskrit language, Hawaiian, Sioux, Hindi, Swahili, or any of the other 6,500 languages of the world, one thing the human race is good at is creating language. My student Priya Mohan named her method of sound healing the Bhavana sound method, combining the Tower of Babel brand with the solution brand that you'll learn in Template 20. So Bhavana means cultivating one's essence in Sanskrit, and it's also got variations in Pali, Hindi, and other languages too. So here's the thing. For Priya, the name reflects her cultural heritage. She has a deep connection to the language and the meaning of the words. Simply choosing a word from another language when you have no connection to that language or that word can feel like cultural appropriation unless you take the time to really educate yourself on what it means. You don't need to be part of that culture to use a word from that culture, but it is important to respect the cultural significance of that word and that language. This film poster from 2003 caused a huge controversy. In many Buddhist countries, it's considered rude to touch someone's head who's wearing a Buddha necklace. So sitting on the Buddha's head shows a complete lack of cultural sensitivity. So here are a few more famous examples of Tower of Babel brands. Lego combines two Danish words, legot, which literally translates to play well, making it a hybrid of the inventor brand and the Tower of Babel brand. While Nestle was named after their founder, Henry Nestle, the word also means nest in German, which is where the company's logo came from. Etsy means oh yes in Italian, and in Latin it means and if. Robert Callan, the founder of Etsy, was on the lookout for a meaningless word when he watched Federico Fellini's movie 8½. So he kept hearing the words Etsy, and there you got it. Hulu is a Mandarin word with two distinct meanings. The first is a gourd that was often used to hold precious things, and the second is an interactive recording. Both meanings work for the streaming video technology. Pandora means all gifted in Greek, and it also has the name of the Greek goddess who receives many gifts from the gods, including the gift of music. This one is a hybrid of the Tower of Babel brand and the cultural reference brand, which I'm going to share with you in just a moment. And of course, there are hundreds of yoga and lifestyle brands that pull from Asian culture. Now let's talk about the cultural reference brand, which can be used to name just about everything. A cultural reference brand leverages an existing story, event, object, expression, or phrase that's already in the popular discourse. I helped my student Julie Lowe name her new product Facebook ATM, which stands for Ads to Money. Julie's leveraging all the cultural meaning around the word ATM and pulling that into her product name, and it works. I helped another student, Julia Lewis, name her energy healing technique using the cultural reference brand. So she clears energy and emotion clots in the body that are causing sickness and disease. We named her healing technique the melting point, since she melts away the blocks that are stopping the free flow of energy. With my student Helmut Whitaker, we took the common phrase call to, that's used in call to action, call to arms, call to worship, call to prayer, and beyond, and we used it for his program Call to Song, where he helps people find their song or the truth of who they are. My students Carl and Marita named their employee management software Talent Chaser. It's been a great name for them, and in England, where they're from, the term talent chaser refers to a young man who chases women. Our original name for the Experience Product Masterclass was Tao of Product Creation. You may say, well, isn't that a Tower of Babel name? And here's where the line gets a little blurred. While the word Tao is originally a Chinese word meaning the path or the way, it's become so widely used in the English language that it's now more of a cultural reference brand than it is a Tower of Babel brand. There are many well-known brands that take this approach too. Productivity expert David Allen named his method the Getting Things Done methodology, or GTD for short, and that's an expression that people use all the time. Yahoo was named after the savage creatures from the novel Gulliver's Travels. Yahoo's also a word that meant rude, unsophisticated, and uncouth. GoDaddy was originally founded in 1997 under the name Jomax Technologies. They wanted a more memorable name and had a company brainstorming session to figure it out. Someone suggested Big Daddy, but the name was taken. So they ended up with GoDaddy, since it made everyone smile. It sounds like something you'd say at the racetrack or in bed, which is consistent with the patriarchal imagery the company uses to market itself. There are countless books and movies and gambling parlors named Beginner's Luck, and the Tea Party grassroots political movement references the historical events of the Boston Tea Party in 1773. The Mashup brand combines two things that aren't normally put together to form something that's surprising, edgy, revolutionary, or even shocking. For example, Tad Hargrave's brand Marketing for Hippies. You wouldn't normally think about marketing as something hippies would do, and it makes you take notice. Another example is Crib Candy, which makes handcrafted furniture and home decor out of reclaimed and new materials. This name is memorable because it almost feels taboo, like giving candy to babies. But if you look up the word crib in the Urban Dictionary, you'll also see that it means home, domicile, or dwelling. So it all works. It makes sense. I took this approach with my client, Michael Hancock's. Michael has an established environmental consulting agency named Skio. He came to me for a rebrand, which included his podcast, Equal Opportunity Radio. They were doing great work on issues of equity and sustainability, and I felt like that name was preaching to the converted. The only people who would listen to Equitable Opportunity Radio would be people who are already heavily steeped in the conversation about equity and sustainability. If Michael wanted to reach a broader audience interested in environmental issues and stand out from the noise of all the other well-meaning environmental podcasts, he would need to do something more memorable. Michael and Skio's philosophy was to transcend finite natural resources through infinite human potential. So I suggested the name Infinite Earth. At first, he felt like the name might be too controversial since the Earth is definitely not infinite. I reminded him that their approach was different from that of other environmental consulting firms, since they also considered social capital, human capital, the built environment, and the natural environment. When you look at the Earth at the intersection of the social, the human, the natural, and the built, there are infinite possibilities. And he agreed. The name became so compelling with their audience that they've expanded it from Infinite Earth Radio to the Infinite Earth Lab and other programs. So let me give you a couple more famous examples. You've got the Fitbit Activity Tracker, which uses the power of rhyme and alliteration in the name. AppSumo, which gives you huge discounts on apps and other digital products. You've got SEO Moz, a blog about SEO. It uses the word Moz, which originated as a nickname for a couple of famous rock stars and is now used colloquially to describe a wizard or a really cool guy. The power of one template is simply a single word. This template's often used for book titles which can't be legally trademarked. When it comes to books, there's a long line of great books with a single name as the main title, then often a big promise as the subtitle. You've got Jeff Walker's book Launch, an internet millionaire's secret formula to sell almost anything online, build a business you love, and live the life of your dreams. Jeff uses the URL, thelaunchbook.com. Ryan Levesque's book Ask, the counterintuitive online method to discover exactly what your customers want to buy, create a mass of raving fans, and take any business to the next level. And Ryan uses the URL getaskbook.com. And Sally Hoghead's book, Fascinate, How to Make Your Brand Impossible to Resist, which doesn't have a good URL attached to it. And the list goes on and on and on. The power of one brand is also really common for business, product, or service names in conjunction with the inventor brand, the I Can't Spell brand, the Tower of Babel brand, or the cultural reference brand, since the only way to find short, simple, single-word URLs in a world of over 1.8 billion websites is to use one of these templates, just like Joomla, Google, Amazon, Pandora, and many of the other brand names that I've already mentioned. You will on occasion see power of one product or service brands using straight English words, but then they need to use longer URLs because single words are not available in any .com. For example, you have Stu McLaren's course Tribe, which uses the URL thetribecourse.com, and Eben Pagan's course Accelerate. Next, we've got the coin a phrase brand, which is often used to name businesses, products, services, or systems that are based on a single concept, idea, or methodology. By coining a phrase that you can own and trademark, you can own the market for that phrase. When people start using your language to describe themselves, you know you've done this successfully. The best coin a phrase brands can be dropped naturally right into a conversation without sounding like you're promoting yourself. The Experience Product Masterclass is a great example of that. Murray and I coined the name Experience Products to describe a new phenomenon that we were noticing and experimenting with. We called it Experience Products to position it against information products, which people had been talking about for years, but were dropping rapidly in price, sales, and effectiveness. Now we have a phrase that people are talking about, and we can own the conversation around that phrase. We even trademarked it. And the way we did that is first we checked the United States Patent and Trademark Office database and saw that no one was using that term. And then we looked up the domain, and we saw that we could buy experienceproduct.com right away. And we noticed that experienceproducts.com was being sold for $2,000, so we bought that too. So we literally own the term experience products now, and it's a great phrase. I definitely recommend double-checking all your product names against Google and the United States Patent and Trademark Office database to make sure that you aren't infringing on someone else's copyright. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't advise you on this, but it's always a good idea to make sure that no one else is using the name that you have in mind to describe something similar to what you do. Political thinker George Lakoff wrote a book called Don't Think of an Elephant, Know Your Values and Frame the Debate, in which he talks about the power of creating language that can frame the political debate around your topic. I believe the same thing is true when it comes to branding, marketing, and positioning, and we've created language around many of our ideas and products that our tribe now uses. In addition to experience products, we've created and named new frameworks for website design that match the 4 stages of business development that we've also named. So our students talk about being in the blue sky stage of business, the call me stage, the list build stage, and the authority stage. And we've also designed website templates that relate to each of these stages, which we call the blue sky site, the call me site, the list build site, and the authority site. No one else is talking about websites in relationship to business models in the way that we are, so we've started to own the debate in this area too. This is super powerful when you apply it to your bird's eye view framework, system, big idea, or technique. I supported my student Mike Inchalek in coining a phrase around his work. He was talking about life-changing and breakthrough business growth. We rebranded his idea as radical growth and added it to the tagline of his business, Bottom Line Coaches, from flatline to radical growth. This tagline also had the benefit of creating a visual image, which makes it even more powerful. I had a client whose business is called Beauty Breakthrough, and she often says it's time for your beauty breakthrough. And another client whose business was called Balanced Moments, and she used to encourage people to have more balanced moments in their day. Like the slogan brand, this approach gives you ownership over a phrase and allows you to mention your business name in a way that feels natural and appropriate. So coin of phrase brands tend to pair an adjective with a noun, and they reflect a concept, philosophy, or process that's important to the founders of the business. For example, Rich Chevron's Strategic Profits, Lisa Sasovich's Invisible Clothes, and the Slow Food Movement. As you can see, this approach is often more intellectual than emotional and can lack memorability and meaning for your audience on first encounter. These are the kinds of names that gain value as people start to better understand the idea or concept. When we changed the name of our program from the Tao of Product Creation to the Experience Product Masterclass, I got an email from a partner who didn't like the change. She was baffled by the new name and thought it sounded like everybody else's masterclass. She thought the Tao of Product Creation name was more original and compelling, and it was on first glance. But I knew that by the time we had finished our marketing campaign and familiarized our tribe with the idea of experience products, that they'd be hooked. We needed to invent a name that we could use in contrast to the existing types of products that are out there. Then we simply added the word masterclass from the solution brand template at the end of the phrase that we've coined to turn it into a product name. You can also combine a coin of phrase with an institutional brand, like my student Catherine Goldman did for the Creative Law Center. While a coin of phrase brand is usually based on combining an adjective with a noun to create a unique idea or concept, the molecular brand is based on combining 2 to 3 nouns, or combining 1 to 2 nouns with an adjective or adverb to create an image or feeling. I call this the molecular brand because you're collecting a series of words together that each have a lot of meaning on their own and combine together to form something that's greater than the sum of its parts, kind of like putting 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen atoms together to form the water molecule. By combining 2 or more words together, it's often easier to find a URL than going for one word. The danger is in not having enough meaning between your words. Before I helped them rebrand to Dolphinity, David and Linda Shea were using the molecular brand Dolphin Heart World. While this can be a powerful naming template with the right combination of words, my feeling was that these 3 words together made their brand feel too earnest and sincere to turn it into a global brand. To me, Dolphin Heart World felt like 3 beads on a string rather than a molecule that was greater than the sum of its parts. My student Natalie Hill was really attracted to the idea of either having a sacred business or a soul business, but she couldn't get either URL. She ended up naming her business Soul Business Adventure. Now, in this case, the word adventure added a new dimension to the other 2 words that gave it a more evocative mashup feel. Similarly, my student Tina Van Leuven is all about having a joyful business. But someone already had that domain and that brand, so she chose Joyful Soul Business, which has the advantage of allowing the conscious and spiritual entrepreneurs that she works with to self-identify with her. And my student Margarita Crystal Lotus offers Joyful Stress Management Services. If you like the idea of a more creative, story-based approach to your brand, but don't have a personal story that you want to focus on, you can use a metaphor that creates a story or image in the minds of your tribe. The most famous example I know of the metaphoric brand is Chicken Soup for the Soul, written by Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. This book told the true stories of 101 ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Mark and Jack knew that they had something brilliant on their hands that could impact a lot of people, but they had no idea what to name the book. So they made a pact that they would each meditate on the book title for an hour a day until they came up with the right title. Eventually, Jack visualized an image of his grandmother's famous chicken soup. And he remembered how Grandma always told him that her soup could cure anything. He put 2 and 2 together and realized that the book had the same healing powers of his grandma's soup, but instead of healing the body, it would heal the soul. And a multi-million-dollar franchise was born. Another famous example is John Jant's duct tape marketing. John's rolled out a book, a business, and a brand around the concept of duct tape marketing, or a simple, effective, and affordable marketing system that sticks anywhere you put it, especially to your customers. One final example is Seth Godin's book, Purple Cow: Transform Your Business by Being Remarkable. So Seth often uses an extended metaphor to get attention with his main book title, then says what the book is actually about in the subtitle. So the idea behind Purple Cow, in Seth's own words, is this: you're either a purple cow or you're not. You're either remarkable or invisible. Make your choice. So the reason Seth, John, Mark, and Jack chose to build brands around metaphors is that the names grab attention and stick. They're memorable enough to talk about and share. You kind of want to pass it on. And if the metaphor is powerful enough, like chicken soup for the soul, it can instantly form a clear picture in the minds of your audience. For Purple Cow and duct tape marketing, the metaphor serves the role of piquing your curiosity, so you want to know what it's all about. Then once you're in the know, you can't forget it, and perhaps you even want to share it. You can take this approach even further by creating an extended metaphor around a memorable symbol or a physical object that can stand in for a larger story. Oftentimes, these are common objects endowed with a larger meaning through the story attached to them. The best way to explain this is by giving you an example that illustrates this approach. There's a powerful story in the name of the nonprofit Falling Whistles. In 2008, 2 young travelers met up with 5 former child soldiers in the Congo. One of these boys told them the story of children sent to the front lines of war, armed only with a whistle. They sent the story home to their friends and family in the form of a journal entry, and it instantly sparked something. One thing led to another, and they realized that the children's weapon could become their voice. They started inviting people to buy the whistle and become whistleblowers for peace. Armed with this story, the movement took off, capturing the hearts and minds of everyone they met. By choosing to brand themselves with the story and symbol, they've sold over 55,000 whistles and launched a massive campaign and coalition for peace in the Congo. It's one thing to say, I support peace in the Congo, and to make a financial contribution, but it's another thing entirely when your branding can inspire people to become whistleblowers for peace and to wear a whistle around their necks to raise awareness. The story and symbol behind this nonprofit was not only used to connect with their tribe, but to brand their work and even build a movement around what they do. The institutional brand is similar to the guru brand in that it's all about declaring that you are the definitive business or program in your particular field or topic, while using one of a handful of keywords that signals to your audience that this is something that they can join, learn from, or be a part of. There are only a handful of keywords that instantly position you in this way. I'm going to give you each word along with a couple examples of how each word is used in the entrepreneurial world. Blank Academy, like Brennan Burchard's Experts Academy and Jesse and Charlotte's Thrive Academy. Blank School, Marie Forleo's B School, Elizabeth Purvis's Goddess Business School. Blank Institute, the Ford Institute for Transformational Training, and Patricia Misakian's Akashic Records Institute. Blank Center, the Chopra Center and the Creative Law Center. Blank Foundation, New Entrepreneurs Foundation and Unstoppable Foundation. Blank Federation, International Coach Federation. Blank Association, International Coaching Association and the Association of Celebrities and Transformers. Blank Network, eWomen Network, Business Networking International. Blank Club, Natalie McNeil's The Conquer Club and the Rotary Club. It used to be common to see institutional brands using the words university and college, but after the scandal over Trump University, the government's cracking down on words that imply a specific accreditation. So instead of using the word university, for example, Marcia Wieder's Dream University, a safer bet is to use a variation such as the letter U, U spelled Y-O-U, or even something like University, Y-O University, like my cousin Anne Murgatroyd's Hot Pink University. The best way to use an institutional brand is to combine it with one of our other brand templates. The most common combinations include the institutional brand with the personal brand, the tribal brand, the tell it like it is brand, and the power of one brand. The solution brand is similar to the institutional brand in that it uses a widely recognized solution word in conjunction with one of our other brand templates. While the institutional brand is used most often to give credibility to businesses, organizations, and products, the solution brand is used to give credibility to books, products, services, events, and frameworks. Our first set of solution brand templates are used most often to name bird's eye view frameworks, systems, processes, or techniques, and they can also become the name of a book. Blank method, Priya Mahan's Bhavana Sound Method, Ryan Levesque's Ask Method, Blank technique, Julia Lewis's The Melting Point Technique, or the Alexander Technique. Blank formula, Jeff Walker's Product Launch Formula, Don Crowther's Social Profit Formula. Blank blueprint, Brendan Burchard's Total Product Blueprint. Blank approach, Ariella Forstein's Ariella Approach. Blank system, Sally Hogshead's Fascinate System or the Live Your Message System. Blank analysis, Julia Lewis's Body Detective Hands-On Analysis. As you can see, solution brand templates can be used in conjunction with one of our other brand templates, including the personal brand, the Big Promise brand, the Tell It Like It Is brand, the Tower of Babel brand, and the Cultural Reference brand. The next set of solution brand template words are used most commonly to name products and services. Blank class or master class, the Experience Product Master Class, Reiki 1 class. Blank bootcamp, Stephanie Lahart's Custom Body Bootcamp. Blank lab or laboratory, Infinite Earth Lab, Course Builder's Laboratory. Blank quiz, Does Your Website Suck Quiz or the Soul Gift Quiz. Blank test, the Fascination Personality Test. Blank assessment, the DISC Assessment. Blank profile, Carla and Marita Aylan's Performance Profile. Blank package, Kristen Dwan's Balance Your Spirit Package. And the last set of words are used to name event-based products or experiences. Blank conference, eWomen Network Conference. Blank meetup, the Internet Famous LA Meetup. Blank day, Brand Breakthrough Day. Blank session, Nicole Diavola's Yoga Breakthrough Session. Blank challenge, 30-Day Green Smoothie Challenge or 30-Day Video Challenge. Blank game, the Samurai Game, the Prosperity Game. Blank sprint, the Client Attraction Sprint. Blank race or Race to Blank, the Amazing Race and the Race to Nowhere. Blank party, the Internet Marketing Party. Blank cruise, the Internet Marketer's Cruise. Blank ritual, Helmut and Kay Whitaker's Song Ritual. Blank ceremony, the Bone Throwing Ceremony. So there you have it. 14 of the 21 naming templates that are most effective for naming products and signature systems. Remember, all you need is one template and one name. We're not focused on naming your business and everything in it in this training. All you need to do right now is to use the How to Name Anything guide to craft a Get Started product name, even if you end up changing it later. Your coach will be reviewing your product name with you, and this is something that you can bring to any of the coaching calls to brainstorm. Just remember to make sure that no one else is using this name to describe a similar product or service on Google, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or whatever equivalent you have in your country. In the next optional Overachiever track training, you're going to learn how to get noticed anywhere through your visual branding.